General Manager of Assured Home Care. Firstly, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, both personally and at work,
Yeah, that's cool.
to really come and connect with us with Voiteck Connect.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really interested. I'm really interested in two fronts. The first one is Assured Home Care. You're a wonderful customer of Voiteck's, and thank you. Where did Assured Home Care come from and why? And what is it that you deliver back to the market today?
Okay, well, Assured Home Care was birthed out of need. And that came from my wife, Nikki, and my mother-in-law, Julie. They trying to work out what they were going to do moving forward. Nikki was a registered nurse working for another home care agency that was questionable in its ethics, with managing staff and payroll. And they went to a missions trip over in India.
Wow.
And they came out of that missions trip and they believed, and I've got no shame in saying this, that they believed that God gave them a vision for Assured Home Care.
Wow.
And so they went into home care, and just the two of them in the back of their community church.
And this is 10 years ago now?
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Back of their community church, $50 a week rent to the pastor, and they just got started. And as the weeks went by, they had some people come across from Nikki's previous employment, decide to come and work for Nikki, and it grew. And it grew to where we are now with 300 plus staff, providing support directly to over 300 individuals.
Yes.
Every week, and 2,000 individuals over the course of an entire year,
Wow.
for indirect support through our other contracts with agencies across Adelaide.
Fantastic.
So we average about 6,000 support hours a week. So going from 1 hour a week where Nikki would go out and do the service herself,
Yes.
to now just over 6,000 hours.
And Brad, go a little bit more in your explanation. So who do you look after and why?
Yeah, we look after, and as I said, it was birthed out of need, anyone with that need. That falls in line with home support and the disability services or aged care. We are a registered aged care provider with My Aged Care. We are a registered disability provider under National Disability Insurance Scheme, and from that, that's where our client base comes from.
Yeah.
So we provide primarily in-home support. So for Mrs. Smith down the road who doesn't want to go to a nursing home and wants to be able to stay in her own home while she's moving through the motions of progressive, life illnesses that might be striking her, or an infant that requires high intensive care. So we'll be working alongside the other network supports of RNs, physios, OTs, GPs to be able to make sure we can provide the best support that child or infant requires, and then everyone in between.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. Because I must admit, my parents, 84 and 82, living in the UK, they never want to go to a nursing home. And they have local support there that carers come in and do whatever they need to do, but they love it. They just love the independence of it all.
Yeah, that's so important to maintain that independence, because no one wants to be, well, for lack of a better word, an invalid, or be someone who just is dependent on a system or a process, or to someone to be able to come and wipe their bum in the morning. But unfortunately, the reality is some people need that support. So we're there to provide that support for them. And the idea is that we are providing that support behind the scenes so they can live their best life out in front.
Yes.
And we'll do the background work.
Gotcha. Understand. Now, NDIS, it's been in the press. It comes in and out of the press a bit. And again, as a novice, I don't understand too much about it. I've been exposed to it a bit. But your landscape has dramatically changed in the last period of time. Can you just explain to me what that actually means to a novice?
Yeah, well, to put it, the old way of services used to be provided here in South Australia, and across Australia in general, would be the funding for any services would go from a government department to another government department, to then be divvied out to non-for-profit organisations that have applied for grants to provide support, and then how that funding eventually trickles down to the individual is, say yourself, Declan, if you needed support, you would need to apply for a program that is currently, being measured and managed against a government KPI system that you would have to then access that, and you'd have to fit into a box.
Got it.
Now,
and when did this change?
This changed. The process changed. It's been about 6 years in working.
6 years, right? Yeah.
6 years in working. 3 to 4 years in actual action, with trial sites across Australia and here in SA. Started off, the whole South Australia state was a trial site for children.
Gotcha.
So all children's services moved over a gradual period of time into the NDIS space, which allowed parents to have funding received direct from the government to be able to support their child to live their best life. So if a child has learning development goals, early childhood intervention processes that need to take place, being therapies for speech pathology or occupational therapy, and physiotherapy, some of these therapies that they must have, and behavioural support as well for children that require that. They can have their own personal life goals, long-term, medium and short, and that funding is then directed to the individual to support those goals. Right. So the outcome of the individual is a lot better, generally speaking.
So, and then also from an organisation like Assured Home Care, it allows your entrepreneurial spirit to work as well, to be very more defined towards their personal needs. Is that fair?
Oh, absolutely. We don't have to fit into the box anymore that we are thrown by Disability SA. Right. We used to be told, this is the contract, this is the terms of the agreement, of the arrangement. If you work outside of this, you're not covered by insurance, you're not covered by anything to do with supports, you're on your own.
Gotcha.
And, so you can't claim for this, for that expense. So as a business, we're like, right, well, we were hamstrung. So we saw a lot of people in the system requiring needs that they couldn't access, and the waiting list was tremendous.
Wow.
There was bank ups at disability sites all over Adelaide and Australia, but mainly South Australia that we're aware of, is you have multiple hundreds of people on a waiting list waiting to receive services from a program that they needed to shape themselves to get into.
Yeah.
And there'd be a little bit of work done by the social workers from those particular agencies to try and slot them in to make them fit. But we saw their needs being unmet.
Yes.
And now that the NDIS has come into play, we can go direct. We don't have to go through Disability SA anymore. We can now go direct to the individual, and we work out our independent service agreement, independent service plan, based around their needs, their goals, their outcomes. And then we build a network of support. And we use our service model being the care triangle. And we build a network of support of the 3 points, the client at the top, our background support in the office, and then our support workers on the ground. And then we build out all the relevant context of that particular contract. So that includes all of your interested parties, relevant stakeholders, legislative compliances, everything into that care triangle to then provide a service that is directly impactful and a positive nature for that individual.
Fantastic. And this is quite close to your heart, this, isn't it? This isn't just a job, this is a vocation for your personal family as well.
Well, it is. It is.
Yeah.
We've had our own challenges with understanding NDIS, not from a business, but also as participants. My daughter, who is coming up...
Your beautiful daughter.
My beautiful daughter, yes. Coming up soon to be 2 years of age, first accessed the NDIS because she was born with a genetic condition.
Right.
And it was heartbreaking for us to first understand what that genetic condition was when it was first diagnosed, and the prognosis wasn't good for her.
Yes.
We've had conversations in the past where her prognosis was that a 5% chance of making it to her first birthday. Coming out of that, we're more aware of her needs, more aware of what she requires as a young, growing toddler, and she's the cheekiest little clown. But we've got support through the NDIS as well. So we're about to action our second plan with the NDIS, and for us as a family, we wouldn't be able to manage her needs as well as what we thought we would be able to without it. We've got a speech pathologist working with her with developing linguistic skills, so she can now. So we sign. She's non-verbal primarily, as most toddlers develop at different rates. But yeah, she we do a lot of signs. She was hopping around the house this morning, signing Bunny. And then just hopping all over the place.
Easter.
Exactly. And then occupational therapy. We've got therapists coming to our home instead of us going to a services facility.
A sterile environment.
That's right.
The little ones don't understand.
No, they come to our home, and Madeline receives some OT as well.
Fantastic.
Which is great. And that means that and it's not so much occupation, but it's because you don't have a child that doesn't have an occupation, but it's the day-to-day learning skills. And so we're going through the motion of, how does she learn how to dress herself and other things, which would generally you go through the process. This is our second child. We've gone through, teaching our eldest daughter how to get her dressed in the morning and whatnot. We're still going through this. She's a school-age child now.
Yeah, good luck on that one.
but we didn't know what it was, how impactful it was until we realised we definitely needed support with Madeline. And she's come
so
a long way.
it really feels a big thumbs up to Canberra. NDIS is working
for us, absolutely. And for many others that we support, again,
brilliant.
It's working.
Now, Brad, so there's a lot going on for you in your home life. It's like every working parent's are. There's some stuff. You've got some additional challenges, but you guys have always got a smile on your face. Work's extremely busy as well, and you've been around for 10 years now, and as the general manager of Shelter Home Care, there's a lot of opportunities for your growth and all that sort of stuff. Talk to me now about your balance. How do you get your balance between work and play, or work and home? How does that look for you?
Well, balance is something that I'm still working on. It's always going to be something. So I haven't found that balance in total yet, but I'm learning more about myself through self-discovery and reflection and building personal development, personal leadership into that. But like I said, we've bought a new home, so late last year. So we're renovating that house at the moment. I'm doing all the bathroom renovations myself. So we just had the bath installed last night.
Right, well done.
So we've got that going on. We've got first year at school with as school age parents now. So navigating that. We've got Madeline receiving services and therapies, and then we've got I've started my MBA, so I'm studying as well. So all of these things do play a huge impact and a cost that we didn't necessarily account for. And so what we're looking at is, and that cost is time and relationship. So we're finding new balances now with I'll take extra time here to here, move it over there, just a bit of shifting around, but the whole thing revolves around change management for personal, and making sure that we get taught this stuff about through business studies and stuff regarding plan, do, check, act cycles and freeze management, and like for the and all these other, but actually applying it's a different thing.
Very much so.
And so knowing when to say go, and when to stop. That's the biggest take home that I've had out of this whole experience of work-life balance, is having those listening ears on, having these eyes actually unveiled, being able to look at the relationships and impacts that's happening around me, and having a look at the impacts around the work life that's happening as well, making sure that there's a cultural fit for myself and for the office, as well as in my own family, in my own home.
I think, say for instance, there was a younger viewer that was watching this. For me, I always consider it like the three intersecting circles of me personally, my family, and then my work. And where they all intersect through, that becomes my purpose of why I'm doing it. Beyond making money, because we're in business to make money, but beyond making money, what does that actually look like? And it's that constant juggle, isn't it?
It is.
Constant juggle to make sure all of those are akin to where they should be.
It is. And the biggest thing I could ever pass on to anyone else is look after yourself as well. Not as a selfishness to try and pull in, but make sure that you're aware of your own limitations,
and your own needs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not ashamed to say, look, I've seen counsellors to
Yeah.
try and support me through some of the changes we've had around the
Good on
house. You know, we've gone through some previous trauma with what we went through with Madeline, so there's a lot of discovery here. But the biggest thing is take time for yourself.
Yes.
And spend some time with productive procrastination.
Yes.
So,
Love
you
it.
know,
Great wording.
productive procrastination.
Yeah.
Take the opportunity to, do nothing.
Yes.
And think about, opportunities. Thinking about the positive things that you can bring into your world, the relationships that you can invest in.
Yeah.
Because the cost of life has its cost, and ultimately that cost ends at a certain point, and
it is inevitable.
we never
we
go.
pay tax, we die. Yeah.
Exactly, and you can't go into debt with creditors on that.
Yes.
But what you can do is you can choose wisely where you're going to invest your time, your emotion or relationship, and so maintain good friendships of supports around you, being encouraging to build people around you that are going to help support where you need to be, where you want to go, and never forget the number one person that's in your life to be able to support you, and that's your life partner.
Yeah.
And for me, that's my wife.
Oh, well done.
And
there's brownie points on this one.
Brownie points.
Already.
We'll send this to my wife. But all honesty, sometimes we do drop the ball at times.
Yes.
But that's the human side of things. But to acknowledge that and to move forward, But
So Assured Home Care, you had two offices. You were down off South Road there, Edwardstown. And now you've moved up to your very majestic office there on just off Sir Donald Bradman Drive.
Yeah.
I want to hone in a bit on technology for you. So you were a distributed environment and then you've moved into the one office. Mm-hmm. Tell me the challenges that you went through to actually get yourself into that one office. And now also, how does technology support your people in the office as well as your remote people, as well as your people after hours? What happens in all that stuff? So two-pronged question. One, the office move. Yeah. And then secondly, what does technology look like for you?
Yeah, sure. Well, as far as our office movement went, that was a big culture shock for the organisation because we outgrew our office that we were in Edwardstown. We were there for 6 years.
Yep.
And we outgrew it in 3.
Wow.
So that was a challenge in itself. Now then we spread across to another site, and technology in that process, we had to have two VPNs to connect the two sites, one for telephony, one for just standard access, IT. And then we had all sorts of, internet bundles and packages coming in. We had different phone systems here, there. It was a bit of a schmozzle, really. It was a bit of a mess.
It was the normal journey of a growing business.
Exactly. And then trying to bring that into one office space where we are in Mile End South. We've got that new great big 600 square metre office building, bringing everyone in there. Culture shock for one, because everyone needs to work in an environment together again.
Yeah.
So
positive culture shock?
Well, it's positive now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's different, isn't it?
It's different because we had, the general operations of service delivery happening out of Edwardstown.
Yes.
Whilst in Parkhong, where our other office was, that was the financial management. And, they have to work together as a team. It is unified because, billings and expenses and queries come through, payroll queries come through because payroll was over there too. And then we had, so it was just this balancing act between the two offices to try and make things work, and communication was so key to ensure that would work. But communication was generally an email or a phone call. Speaking to people face to face is a lot different.
Yeah, brilliant.
So when we all come into the building, as one united family of workers underneath Assured Home Care, we had to learn how to live in that environment. We're all there, 40 hours a week at least.
Yeah.
Together, so we need to make it work. So
Brilliant.
relationships. So because it was easy. It's easy to send an email
Yes.
and write something that you would not normally say to someone face to face.
And it's also, you press enter and you just presume that other person's got it and they're actioning it straight away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because my needs, to
On
me,
there. Yeah.
outweigh your needs in that moment.
Yeah. Yes.
But your needs are, for someone, you need something from someone else.
Yeah.
And so, having that balance out. So coming back in. So we had to change the way that we operated within with technology as well. So, and we're still adapting that. We're trying to introduce a new communications policy within the organisation where first point of communication is always face to face.
Wow.
And how are we going to do that? And we've spoken in the past, Declan, about, well, can you do face to face with technology?
Yeah.
Via,
for your remote people.
Yeah, for remote access, working with supporting clients, talking with clients or talking with support workers, with remote access, all that stuff. So making sure that team is always a face-to-face connection.
Got it.
And that's one of our values as an organisation. Out of our 4 main key values, being connected is one of them.
Yes.
And so technology plays an integral part to that connection point.
Yeah.
We're making sure that we've got phone systems that operate, that are run. We've got the right bandwidth coming into the office to be able to negotiate what goes out.
I've got to ask, how good is that bandwidth?
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. Previously, we would have dropouts regularly at Edwardstown, regularly.
Yeah.
And even, we put one on the NBN network there within Edwardstown, and it was NBN, but it wasn't fibre.
It wasn't robust enough.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think and we spoke about it with providing a fibre large pipe into your building. Your internet should just be like your lights. You just turn it on and it's there.
Yeah.
And I think now as businesses, we're going through that evolution where we've got high-speed internet services available.
Yeah.
Use them. But you're not going to get them for nothing.
No.
You've got to invest in that as a core infrastructure.
Well, that's right. And you get that return of investment over a long journey. You don't necessarily see the payoff straight away.
Correct.
But what we end up, and there's also the failovers that we need to make sure that come into that. We did have some teething problems at the very start with, we've got a fibre connection, but when it wasn't available on time, so we were working through, a point-to-point solution. And then that became now our failover. So if we do have a line that's cut, we've now got connection straight away. So it's always been making sure that's connection, because if we don't have good infrastructure coming in, we can't provide a healthy service going out.
No, loud and clear. I'm going to go back into, and there's a couple of finer points that I'd like to bring up. You've raised highly the purpose of communication. Communication for you in a business, communication within your family, communication within a business, communication to your customers is critical.
Yeah.
Again, we'll say Madeline. Madeline's now, she's 15 years of age and she wants to get some advice about communication. What are the 2 or 3 key elements that you would say to Madeline about what's the benefits and how would you communicate in the world to your next person?
Well, that's a really good question, and one I've never really thought of before. But when we're talking about what communication might look like in the future, we know that the technological age is moving quite quickly, and I don't think I could ever emphasise the value of communication at a point-to-point, face-to-face.
Yeah.
If ever she needs to communicate with anyone in the future, is always maintaining that face-to-face, or at best a video link.
Yep.
A video link, because body language far outweighs vocal. And you can, by reading someone's body language, whether they're actually understanding, and that's one of the points that we want to try and get across with our clients.
I think one of the stats is 80% of a communication in a conversation is body language.
Yes, yeah.
Only 20% is actually verbal.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah, that's right, and I mean, and that's nowadays everyone's trying to build emojis into their text and into their messaging, because they feel like they can't communicate and express themselves adequately with that communication medium.
Yeah.
You know, they need to have an emoji to be able to signify that they are happy to say this particular message, or that they're feeling. I don't know, they're feeling like a little poop, but
Yeah.
you know, but at the end of the day, these are substitutes.
Yeah.
They are counterfeit substitutes to be able to build back into that.
I must admit, I was caught on that one in the early days and it was the step before the emojis was the acronyms.
Yes.
And I was always looking at guys around me going, "Why are you saying lots of love to me?" Because they go LOL.
Yeah, lots of love. Yeah.
And they go no, and I think it was either my son or daughter that said, "No, that's laugh out loud." I go, the world's moved on, but now we can just put the smiley face, and everyone gets that.
Well, yeah. Well, I heard someone say something that we started off with, speaking face to face, signs and gestures. Then language came into play, and then we started to write some stuff in dirt, and then went to hieroglyphs and Egyptian time, and so it's gone all that through to using pictures, and then written word, and then it went to television, everything, and then it's going backwards, and then it went back to some written word, and then back again to
pictures,
text, acronyms. Pictures back to hieroglyphs. It's all going backwards again. But you can't get away with a substitute. So for Madeline, it is in 15 when she's 15. It's always going to be, look, don't say anything that you don't want to that you wouldn't to anybody that you wouldn't say them in the face.
And I think I've said to my son and daughter, do not be a keyboard warrior.
No.
Take the opportunity, whether it's just calling someone to verbally, or if you can, get in front of them to talk to them as well. I think it's such the credible thing to do.
Yes.
From there.
Yeah.
So, Brad, I've really enjoyed our conversation today. So, Brad Mumford from Assured Home Care, I don't think you guys do a job. I think you've got a vocation. And I love, and I said it to you before, for your 10th birthday, being at the zoo and seeing all of your wonderful partners and customers and the smile that you put on someone's face. I think you're doing a great job in this world. So thank you so much, and thank you for being a customer, and thank you for being part of Voiteck Connect today.
No worries, thanks, Declan. Cheers.